and shop.
Thing is, I love to shop, so I know that when Christmas is over, I am going now because I'm a shopaholic. You gotta figure out what you want. I'm going to the Betty Ford Center for Shopaholics. But very rough regime there. What they do is they take you in a room and they sit you down and they show you pictures of Queen Elizabeth all dressed up. And you'll never shop again.
Joan Rivers, who died today at the age of 81. It's tough sometimes to find a clip that's suitable for afternoon television that doesn't include a lot of beeps, but that was part of her. Trace Gallagher's been getting word in from a lot of celebrities who loved her a long time. Hello, Trace.
As you can imagine, Chef, the internet is filling up with response for Joan Rivers. I just wanted to read a couple of them for you. Kathy Griffin, she writes, quoting here, a legend, a friend, a mentor, an icon, and wildly funny, one of a kind, rest in peace. Sharon Osbourne, she and Joan Rivers became very close friends later in life. She writes that we have lost a true legend today, an amazing woman, a pioneer. She opened up the arena for women in comedy. My heart goes out to Melissa and Edgar, her grandson. Love and respect from the Osbourne family to you both. Seth Meyers writes, rest in peace, Joan Rivers, a force of nature. Whoopi Goldberg says, my friend Joan Rivers has passed away, and once again, to quote Billy Crystal, there are no words. Of course, Billy Crystal said that about Robin Williams, who passed away a few weeks ago. Ellen DeGeneres says, Joan Rivers will always be a pioneer. She paved the way for a lot of comedians. I'm very sad she's gone. And Ricky Gervais said, rest in peace, the mighty Joan Rivers, funny and fearless, truly one of a kind. And the first response we heard, Chef, from one of her co-hosts on the Fashion Police on the E! Network, he says, this is George Katsiopoulos, says, rest in peace, Joan Rivers. Thank you for changing my life. I will miss you so much. And you know, we talked about, in fact, you just talked to Larry King, Chef, about the famous interview he did with Joan Rivers on CNN years ago. Well, just a couple of months ago, Joan Rivers walked off very famously an interview she was doing for her new book, Diary of a Mad Diva, on CNN. She did come by here and spoke to us, and she said that a lot of her friends were dying, and when people say, oh, she's in a better place, she would say, no, they're not. No, she's not. She had a place in the Hamptons. So Joan Rivers, very self-deprecating and very much missed by a lot of her friends today, Chef.
She certainly was very self-deprecating, but she did not like that particular CNN interview. She said at the time, you're just all negative. But they moved on. We talked a lot about how Johnny Carson gave her her start. On the phone now is Henry Bushkin, who was Johnny Carson's lawyer and very close confidant. She knew Joan Rivers well since they both worked closely with Johnny. Henry did a show with her in January. Mr. Bushkin, nice to talk to you. Thank you.
And nice to be with you, Shepard.
I feel like I remember from the start, but I know I didn't because I was only one. But I've seen the clip enough to remember, God, you're funny. The first words out of Johnny Carson's mouth.
Absolutely. And you know, the sad thing is she was so funny, but people remember the end. You know, when Carson and she had a spat and they didn't talk. And I like to think when she was hysterically funny, that clip that you played, when she started out, she wasn't caustic as she, became in later years, but she was so funny and such a good friend of Carson's that I was really saddened when that relationship ended. And it's a testament to her that not only did she survive, but she blossomed after that.
She did for more than 28 more years. And I wonder to what do you attribute her longevity? 50 years in this business, now appealing to people over literally 5 generations over time. It's astounding.
Well, because she was so very funny, and again, my thoughts of her is when she was the young comedian and on Carson's show constantly from the mid-60s right up until the mid-80s. And that's when I knew her best. Indeed, my law firm represented her for a while. And the last time I saw her was in January when we did a show together. And we were reminiscing about the good times with Carson. Not the bad times, but the good times. She became a permanent guest host of The Tonight Show. That's how much he thought of her. And it just is we've lost a true legend. I mean, Carson was a true legend. She's a true legend.
She talked of how difficult it was to host and cover the Golden Globes with the daughter she loved so much, Melissa Rivers, who announced her death today. Listen.
In between interviews today, this is what I am learning.
These are all the people that are going to be on, and what they've done and stuff like that. It's a giant task, which I then forget because of my age.
she was kidding, and that was a while ago. That was, what, 8 years ago. She didn't seem to age comedically at all.
No. I mean, her comedy became slightly different, as you could appreciate. But she didn't age at all comedically. She was still at the top of her game. I understood that the night before she was taken to the hospital, she was working. So that's a testament to someone who was 81 years old and still vibrant and working. It's the loss of a true legend here.
Henry Bushkin, who was the lawyer of and close confidant of Johnny Carson, and then worked with Joan Rivers, managing and the rest along the way. Sir, it's nice to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The news breaking in this hour, as announced by Joan Rivers' daughter, Melissa Rivers, that at 1:17 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time this afternoon, Joan Rivers died with her family at her side in a private room in New York City. There are many questions about what led to that death, what happened at the Yorkville endoscopy, and what the procedures were there. We'll have more throughout the day. Also, the other headline, Bob McDonnell, the former governor of the state of Virginia, convicted today on charges including bribery and extortion, and could spend many decades in prison. There will be an appeal, and Brett Baer will have special coverage tonight, 6 Eastern, 5 Central, on Special Report. For now, I'm Shepard Smith. Good afternoon.
Lost in all the news today, these protests over flood of illegals entering the country. I now want you to meet the dad who's taking